Former UFC bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling has made some bold accusations about his next opponent, Movsar Evloev. And we're going to take a look at him in this video. He made some on Twitter, but he also discussed it in a recent interview where he really started to try to expose Movsar Evloev for being a dirty fighter. We're going to take a look at all of it in this video, discuss the legitimacy of it, and also, you know, there's that saying, you don't throw stones if you live in a glass house, and there may be some alleged accusations about Aljamain Sterling that we are going to expose for the very first time in this video towards the end of the video. But let's jump right into it because Aljamain Sterling has a history of this. You go back to the Petr Yan fight. These fighters have been cheating for years. Aljamain Sterling accuses dirty rat Petr Yan of steroid use. And there's a couple different tweets of it. You know, here they are. You think you saw the team are flying Americans over there to test their athletes? Give me a break. Shit's a complete joke. And honestly, if you want to read the tweets, here they are. I'm not going to read these ones in their entirety since they're from December of 2021. And then he has, you know, 1 week versus months and years of cheating ain't shit. Accusing Petr Yan of being a steroid cheat. He has a history of doing this. Aljamain Sterling likes to accuse his opponents preemptively of PED usage without actually any evidence. And he does that about Movsar Evloev, who he's fighting at UFC 308 in about a month. And not only did he tweet about it, he also went on a rant for about 2 minutes in a recent interview, which we're going to check out here in a second. Now, these next few tweets are from Aljamain Sterling more recently about Movsar Evloev. This one said, "Nothing worse than cheaters in the sport. I fought cheaters before and won because I believed in my skill set. I never had anything to hide then, and I have nothing to hide now." And this is the clip that he posted with it. We'll listen to this real quick. I guess this is from his YouTube channel.
I would love to get drug tested every single day.
Turn this up.
But I would love to get drug tested every single day. But I know my opponent would never do the same because I guarantee you my man is on something. But it's okay. I'm used to fighting guys who've been on gear. It's just one of those things. Like Nate Diaz said, they're all on steroids, right? So may the better man win. I know I'm going to be the cleaner man. I know I'm going to get it done. I have no doubt in my mind. Even with you cheating, mentally, it just shows that you're weak. So it is what it is. Movsar, I'm coming for that ass, and I can't wait. October 5th is going down, UFC 307.
So there is the first accusation of Movsar Evloev on PEDs from Aljamain Sterling. No evidence. He says that it shows that Movsar is mentally weak. I would make the counterclaim that making accusations that your opponent is using performance-enhancing drugs prior to the fight even happening with no evidence would mean that you were mentally weak because you're already preemptively making an excuse for why you potentially lost. That's what I'm getting out of this. Now, you had a little bit of a back and forth between Aljo and some fans, as well as Aljo and Movsar. Somebody tweeted to him, "Wait, you're not typically the kind of guy to make those sort of allegations," which is just crazy. I'm not even going to read the rest of this tweet because Aljo's been accusing people of PEDs left and right for years. And then he said, "You must be new to me. I call out a lot of these guys that have popped for stuff. I'm 99% sure Movsar has taken shit and possibly still does, but it's never stopped me from beating cheaters before. Hard work and skill set." So again, he's already got to make an excuse, a built-in excuse for why he might lose to Movsar. And also, this sounds a lot like projection. I'm not going to lie. When I hear guys start to lobby accusations quite a bit with no evidence, I automatically assume they're using PEDs. And, you know, there's been a lot of claims about Aljamain Sterling's camp in the past, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Movsar responded to the initial video and said, "Don't be scared. I'll make it quick. You won't feel a thing." And Aljo responded, "Basically, you're admitting it. I'm right." I don't know if he doesn't comprehend the English language or he's dumb as a box of rocks, but how is that basically admitting it? That doesn't make any sense. You've won 100%. So, you know, here's just multiple things wrong with this. So now you went from 99% on August 23rd at 2:37 p.m. to now 100% on August 24th, 12:27 a.m. Okay? You've 100% taken gear and probably still on gear. You talk too much, and I know for certain. It's okay, though. When you realize it's not enough to beat me, you'll contemplate your entire career of why you even bothered to try. So he's apparently certain. We're going to get to the meat of the accusations in the interview. He kind of breaks down why he believes what he believes. He breaks down all the evidence. He lays out all the evidence of why he believes that Movsar is cheating in the interview that we're going to take a look at in a second. And then you have another tweet where Movsar says you can talk now, but you'll be silent after the fight. Accusing without evidence is your coping mechanism when you lose. Hashtag Oscar, hashtag actor, making fun of when Aljo won the title against Petr Yan. Lamau, you still can't deny it. You're a mental midget that needs the needle up the bum. Tell me you haven't taught anyone how to cheat and get away with it. You can't. Fraudster, dope, sir. You know, it's just, I mean, this comes off embarrassing from Aljamain Sterling. I got to be completely honest here. He's like, yeah, you're sticking needles up your bum. I'm sure of it. You know, like, what? Who you hearing that from? Him and Merab running the same circles? Because there's been a lot of allegations about Merab. Then you have Movsar posting pictures of him getting drug tested. Your friend stopped by after you started complaining, but it won't help you out. What's your next excuse? And then he says, you've gotten away with it for this long. Try not to get caught for 6 more weeks so I can give you a natural ass whooping. And then calls him a fraudster again. And then somebody else tweeted to him, yes, I call out anyone I've heard or seen that has popped before. Please watch. Don't know what this is if you haven't yet. There are so many doctors out there that are ahead of the testing. The testing agencies know this very well also. So this hasn't, so the he hasn't popped before talk is all nonsense to me. This is just ludicrous in general, because then you could just basically say anyone's on PEDs. I understand there's probably a lot of guys cheating, but to make these types of bold accusations with literally zero evidence in these tweets so far, we're going to get to the interview in a second, it's just crazy. Yeah, well, he hasn't popped before. Well, I guess you can just accuse anyone and everyone of PEDs. And we got some crazy accusations that we're going to expose about Aljamain Sterling in this very video. Next tweet and last tweet we have, my turn for testing, it seems. Let's keep this sport, or at least the UFC, clean. So now all of a sudden, he's bragging about his drug test and that he's bragging about that he's clean when he just in the past said that he's everyone's ahead of the drug testing and you can easily cheat even though there is drug testing. So again, a lot of flawed logic from Aljamain Sterling. To be honest, if you didn't already feel this way, you have to start feeling like, is this guy, he's not the brightest bulb, for sure. He's not the smartest guy in the world, for sure. So, yeah, he's bragging about now a test that apparently he knows are easy to beat. Why does he know that? Why does he know they're easy to beat? I wonder. Does Ray Longo know? Does Merab know? Why does he know they're so easy to beat? Seems like projection to me. And then finally, let's get to the interview. This first clip I'm going to show you, I just found it absolutely hysterical because he's complaining about the MMA media. This guy asked him, apparently Aljo has a problem with this website. By the way, I will link this entire interview down in the description. This is a small YouTube channel, Homa Fight. Apparently, they're just getting off the ground. Please go check it out in its entirety. Support the channel. Whenever I use a video, I like to link it and shout it out in the video. But apparently, he's complaining about the MMA media being clickbaity and disrespecting fighters. And I just think this is ironic considering what he's doing right now. But let's listen to it.
What did we potentially do wrong?
I feel like a lot of those pages, a lot of the pages that you guys run, or
by the way, speaking of being dumb as a box of rocks, this dude didn't even switch his microphone to the proper microphone. So if you're wondering why the audio is absolutely dog shit, like Brett Okamoto's camera quality, it's because he didn't switch his microphone. He's using like his internal microphone on his laptop or his computer or whatever, his webcam. He's not actually using the mic that you see right here. That's why it sounds like absolute dog shit. But let's carry on.
or the other people run. I feel like there's a lot of the way you guys post stuff is it could be very controversial, which I understand trying to get engagement, but it comes off as a slap in the face to the athletes.
So he doesn't like that media websites are posting controversial stuff that is a slap in the face to athletes, essentially alluding to clickbait. And I think he actually says that here in a second. What does that sound like? That sounds exactly like what Aljamain Sterling is currently doing with these accusations, but we'll get to that in a second.
That's just, I think, everyone's overall consensus if you ask the fighters.
Like the clickbait type stuff, so to speak?
Exactly.
So
I'm pretty sure you guys can understand where that can turn people off from wanting to even do things like this with anybody. Especially for me, it's not like I'm in a position where I need to build my, I don't want to say following, but getting people in the MMA space to know who I am. I mean, I already did what I need to do.
By the way, that's just simply not true. You could still get people to like you more by doing interviews and showing your personality. You could still do that. You know, people know who you are, but you could still kind of turn the fan base around by potentially doing interviews and kind of getting more exposure for yourself. So makes no sense. You know, obviously he doesn't really have a following, but that's besides the point.
So it makes me more reluctant to want to do stuff like this with people who are.
Okay, so he doesn't want to do any interviews because he doesn't like the way the media's covering him with clickbait and stuff that is a slap in the face to fighters. Well, what is he doing with his accusations? Well, we're going to find out in a second because we're about to listen to all the evidence he has on Movsar. He's about to expose Movsar badly, man. Let's listen to what he has to say about Movsar cheating and being a dirty fighter.
I know we have one real mutual friend, former trainer partner of mine back in New York. He's now training down there with him. Like I said, no animosity. I just think from what I've heard through the grapevine, he's not a clean athlete. And I think that's just what it comes down to. And people can say whatever, you have no proof. I'm like, dude, the same thing people were saying about TJ Dillashaw from years ago.
By the way, he heard it through the grapevine. I heard him and Merab Dvalishvili are fucking each other. I heard it through the grapevine. It means absolutely nothing, completely meaningless. I'm waiting for the evidence, though. And then he references, well, everyone knew TJ Dillashaw was on it, and then he finally got busted. Well, he finally got busted, and TJ Dillashaw is an entirely different situation. You're not giving a single example, or at least he hasn't yet, about what makes these claims any, one bit legitimate at all. So
him teaching people how to do it, Cody Garbrandt calling him out at the press conference, and everyone sweeping it under the rug.
I want to be very clear about the TJ Dillashaw situation. I knew in those Hen and Barrow fights that TJ Dillashaw was on EPO. I knew it. I wish I had a YouTube channel back then. I would have said, look, I don't care what anyone says on EPO. But we still need evidence. The Cody Garbrandt thing was kind of telling for sure. If you missed that, it was at a press conference. Cody Garbrandt kind of made some claims about TJ Dillashaw. Oh, you tried to teach everyone at the gym how to use EPO. Okay. Where's that, Aljo? At least if you had that, you could say, well, look what his teammate said. You don't have that. You're just saying, whatever.
Telling TJ direct to his face that you taught everyone at the gym how to do it. Those conversations are not very different from what I've had about Movsar. And I think where there's smoke, there's fire.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Dan Hooker and his baseless accusations about Islam Makhachev? Well, I heard through the grapevine, like that's literally meaningless. Oh, well, some conversations I heard. Well, why are you talking about PED usage behind the scenes? What, are some of your teammates running the same circles that use those PEDs as Movsar Evloev, as you're accusing Movsar Evloev of using? Is that like, I'm curious, and let me know down in the comments. When you hear a fighter make these claims and they're very sparse on the details, does that not make you more suspicious of that particular fighter making those claims? Because I'm like, what kind of circles are you running in? What kind of conversations are you having behind closed doors? That you're like, hey, man, I was getting my EPO injection right up my asshole the other day, and you'll never guess who I ran into there. Yeah, Movsar was there. Your opponent for UFC 307, he was there getting the same injection, man. Like, does this not sound suspicious? Or did Aljo run into him there when he was, with one of his buddies getting PEDs? It just makes me awfully suspicious of the fighter making the claims without any real evidence.
Do I have any hard evidence? Like, did I see the guy stick a needle up his ass? No. Did he pop for anything yet? No.
So you have nothing then. You've heard rumors. That's all you've heard is rumors. But now you are throwing dirt on another man's career because you heard rumors in a gym, basically, is what you're saying. It just makes no sense. Oh, I didn't see him with a needle. Has he tested positive? No. But I heard through the grapevine. Like, think about how fucking stupid that is.
Maybe he never will. But at the end of the day, only him and his consciousness will know if he's truly a clean athlete. And I really
think about how dumb that is. I don't mean to keep interrupting. I know people get mad when I interrupt every couple seconds sometimes. But yeah, only him and his consciousness will know if he's a clean fighter. Like, what? This is a whole lot of nothingness. I'm waiting for the evidence, Aljamain Sterling. This is the second time I've watched this. I'm waiting for the evidence to jump out at me. Where's it at? Give me one shred of evidence to support your claim, to even point me in that direction.
do believe he does. I truly do believe he knows he's cheated. It is what it is. I'm gonna fight him. I fought multiple guys who've done stuff, whether or not they got caught, and that's just what it is. I'm a gamer. I just like to let them know, like, I know what you're doing, and it has nothing to do with making an excuse. I'm just calling a spade a spade. And if you want to call people want to call that an excuse, then I'm gonna fight the guy whether I talked about it before or not.
It sounds like an excuse to me, where you can have a built-in excuse where if you go out there and lose, what do you think the first thing Sterling's going to say if he gets sparked or he gets dominated for 3 rounds? He's like, well, that guy's on PEDs. I heard it through the grapevine. That guy's in PED. What kind of bitch says that? Like out in public, yeah, I heard this through the grapevine. It just makes a totally baseless accusation. I mean, seriously, who would possibly do that? We're definitely not going to do that at the end of this video. That's for damn sure.
People get popped, I call them out, and that's been a long-running history of me. So that's why I don't take anything unless it's third-party certified. And facts are the facts. People can hate it all they want, but I've been nothing but honest with the fans. So, again, I have no hard evidence, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and you will never hear those conversations of Aljamain teaches guys how to do this and how to cheat and get away. You just never hear those conversations.
You'll never hear those conversations. You definitely won't hear them in this video here in a little bit. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Does anyone else find this hysterical, considering the rumors surrounding Aljamain Sterling when he's looked absolutely jacked leading into the Calvin Kattar fight? Does anyone else find it hilarious at the countless accusations about Merab Dvalishvili, his teammate and one of his best friends, for EPO with no real evidence? But now here Aljo is saying where there's smoke, there's fire. So where there's a little bit of discussion, where there's a little bit of rumors means they're absolutely true. So right here, Aljamain Sterling is basically admitting that Merab is on EPO. That's what I'm getting from this conversation here. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So everyone's right about Merab now. That's essentially what he's saying. He's snitching on Merab Dvalishvili. That's what Aljo's doing here.
Because it's not there. Never happened. Him, on the other hand, he can't say that. So that's the difference.
So he heard some conversations, heard some backroom conversations, and you'll never hear that about me, but I heard that about him. Maybe because your team is full of a bunch of cheaters. What about Chris Weidman? You know, all he does is go out there against Bruno Silva and finger him left and right. Knuckle deep in another man, his eye socket, but knuckle deep on like a dozen occasions. Cheating and cheating and cheating. And then complaining and blaming the guy that he cheated afterwards. Like an absolute bitch and a pussy. And you're like, oh yeah, how dare the media disrespect the fighters. Well, Chris Weidman's trying to affect somebody's eyesight after being warned on countless occasions and literally cheating. It's on video. He's a cheater. He's a known cheater. He's a repetitive cheater. He's a guy who's celebrated as somebody snapped their leg in half in a potential career-ending injury. He took pictures with fans replicating that catastrophic injury like an absolute pussy, okay? Then it happens to him. The karma catches up to him. Then he goes out there and eye pokes a guy to death, fingers a guy to death, pause, and then blames that guy. Yeah, you can't fall to the ground while I'm gouging your eyes out in a fight where that's completely illegal. But where there's smoke, there's fire. And he goes on more and more, and we're just going to look at one last clip. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. But again, this is just Aljamain Sterling making excuses prior to a fight. Again, no hard evidence. I'm waiting for the hard evidence.
From the testing. And everybody knows that. And once you know something like that, it makes it that much easier to get away with it. So people can say whatever they want. Again, I just call a spade a spade. I have no concerns about it because I'm going to fight the motherfucker anyway. So it doesn't really bother me in that regards. I just like to let them know, like, you're a mental midget because you need to do stuff like this. And that's the difference between you and I.
I think you're a mental midget for accusing someone with no evidence prior to the fight so you have an excuse. It seems like you're mentally weak heading into this fight with Movsar Evloev. This is just ridiculous. Imagine going out publicly and doing this interview where you're just saying, look, I have no evidence, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. I've heard some backroom discussions, but to not point to anything. He's not said, oh, well, I know someone who saw him using PEDs, because that exposes his own teammate. So either shut the fuck up or provide some evidence, at least a shred. Just give us a shred of evidence. And what's funny about this, again, I already mentioned it prior. You know, Aljamain Sterling looking absolutely jacked. There was people saying, oh my God, what's going on with Aljo? He's absolutely shredded. You know, he's getting up there in age and he's absolutely shredded heading into the Calvin Kattar fight. He must be on PEDs. And then the rumors swirling around Merab being on EPO because of his gas tank, his unlimited cardio. So I guess when there's smoke, there's fire. So that means Aljamain Sterling's on PEDs and also Merab's on PEDs. And Chris Weidman, I guess, is on PEDs as well and still just is absolute shit, I guess. Has to poke people to death to win fights. But that's not it. That's not it. Because we're going to expose some shocking revelations about Aljamain Sterling that I heard through the grapevine. I already heard through the grapevine that Aljamain Sterling and Merab are lovers. I don't have any evidence to support that. No hard evidence to support that. But I heard that they are lovers. I heard that they are making love to each other every other day after training, okay? I heard that through the grapevine. No evidence to support that. And I also tweeted out, if you guys have any outrageous claims, rumors about Aljamain Sterling and want it to be featured in a video potentially, then tweet them out and tag me. I wanted to hear through the grapevine what's going on. Somebody says, I buy tops. I heard through the grapevine that Aljo hopped on PEDs for the Yan rematch. He got supplied EPO from Merab. Ooh, that's great. Now, I have to be clear here. We have no evidence to support that, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Now we have Ant MMA. Aljo started juicing after the Moraes fight as he realized he's too chinny to do it naturally, and Law MMA has tons of juicing controversies. But it doesn't apply to Merab as he's mostly training in Vegas nowadays. So, I mean, that's a really bold claim we have there. Then we have, as a Merab Dvalishvili fan, or as a fan of Merab Dvalishvili, Sterling is juiced. Looks like where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, look at all these claims. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. Aljamain Sterling is a PED abuser, allegedly. There's a lot of claims. You will never hear these conversations about me. And there's more. Look, Aljo is juiced to the gills. Aljo puts sleeping pills in his opponent's drinks. And let's refresh this. Let's see if there's any more. Let's see if we have anything else. It looks like that's about it. That's all the claims we have right now. Aljo scammed my friend out of $100,000. I like that one. That one's actually crazy. That one is crazy. So we have all these different claims. And it's hard to believe this. By the way, guys, if you want to go follow me on Twitter, at MMA Joey C, same for Instagram. And let's actually click on this because sometimes Twitter messes up. And let's make sure if there's anything else. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the claims. But yeah, it looks like, according to this, Aljamain Sterling is using PEDs. He also scammed somebody's friend out of $100,000. And it just goes to show where there's smoke, there's fire. All those, I have no hard evidence to back up. I just heard them through the grapevine. But to make these types of claims that Aljamain Sterling is making about Movsar Evloev with no evidence just goes to show that he's mentally weak. He is prepared to lose to Evloev and then cry and whine about PED usage afterwards. That's exactly what this tells me. And this isn't his first time doing it. He did it with Piotr Yan as well with no evidence. So he likes to have this in the back of his mind. So if he loses, he can not only make the excuse, but he can also reconcile it in his mind by saying, I would have had him. If it wasn't for their rampant PED usage. You know, if coach would have put me in fourth quarter, we would have took states. How much you want to bet I could throw a pigskin over those mountains? So we basically have confirmed allegedly that Aljamain Sterling is using PEDs. We confirmed that he scammed somebody's friend out of $15,000. We have no hard evidence to prove it, but it's looking like when there's smoke, there's fire. Sound like Dan Hooker and his claims about Islam Makhachev. Absolute disgrace. Aljamain Sterling making these ridiculous claims. By the way, he's retweeting. I was looking through his Twitter. Retweeting Grant Cardone, who's a known scam artist, running these fraudulent seminars, scamming people out of thousands of dollars. That's the type of people that Aljamain Sterling likes to, repost online. What an absolute pussy, an embarrassment. And meanwhile, he can't even have the audacity to switch on the proper microphone for his interview with Home of Fight. But go check out the full interview. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you won't. I'll link it down in the description. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching.